Hello, welcome back to the Mailman, the brand focused on breaking the stigma around male body image issues. So today, well, we left last time where I was talking about primary school, the start of, I guess the realization that, yeah, maybe I'm different. Maybe, I'm bigger than other kids. Um, And today essentially is the next stage of that. So primary school finishing, going into high school, the start of high school. So that essentially started exactly how primary school finished. Started with bullying, started with image issues, confidence issues. I'd already been told I looked different from primary school. The bullying had started. People had started calling me fat and all of this stuff. So going into secondary school, straight away, I had kind of that confidence issue with me that all of these new kids, 800 kids in this school, all boys school as well, they're all going to call me fat. They're all going to look at me and think of me as different. I already knew I was different because I was one of like three colored kids in the whole school. So that was already an issue because I I stood out, sorry, as you know, as the only or one of the only Asians in the whole school. The next thing is obviously I had the issue about how I looked. I had you know, an adult sized blazer or a jacket as part of my school uniform. Every other kid had not every other kid. You know how it is in when you start new school, your parents buy you like an oversized blazer or a jacket so that you can grow into it, so they don't have to keep buying you a new jacket every year. Mine was like that, except because I was already big. I think I was wearing like a 40-inch jacket in year seven. So I was like 12, 40-inch jacket at 12 years old. Like I've got friends now that wear 40-inch jackets, and I'm 37. So I was pretty. It was pretty clear that I was different to myself, to everyone else, and I couldn't see the fact that that's okay. That's a normal thing. I look different. He looks different. He looks different. Everyone looks different. The issues really came about when primary school is one thing. Secondary school, and certainly my school was like being in the army, pretty much. It was very regimented. It was quite an old school. So, there was certain practices that were already in place, like, you know, changing rooms. All the kids had to get changed together. You play your sport or whatever, then you come back, you all have to go into the showers together. You then obviously get changed and go back to class. You're punished if you weren't doing that. You were made to do laps around if you weren't playing a sport. You had to kind of engage in some way. So it was like the military in a way. If you weren't doing something, or if you forgot your kit, you'd run around in your uniform. Luckily, I never did that because I actually enjoyed playing sport. I really enjoyed the active side of things. However, the issue for me was the changing rooms. Like I was not comfortable whatsoever. Is that better? So I wasn't comfortable whatsoever getting changed in front of people. I'd go to the changing rooms by myself to get changed in private when all my other mates are getting changed with everyone else. They weren't shy in any way. The other things I would do were like if PE class or physical ed was at midday, I'd get into the changing room at 5 2 so I could get changed quickly. Or if we'd played sport and it was due to finish, I'd leave the sport at 5:02 or 10:02 so I can go get changed, get in the shower, and then get changed into my uniform just before everyone else would come in. So little things like that, I just had to kind of put into play just to kind of protect myself, because I couldn't bear the thought of taking my uniform off and then people seeing me, and then the bullying, just like primary school, people pointing it out, laughing at me, because I would have probably never gone back to school. So this was my way of sort of protecting myself. The other thing I did was I'd always wear like a vest or like an undershirt. So as I started playing rugby, which was my kind of main sport, again, I was picked for rugby because I was huge. I was kind of like a fridge in a way, with legs. They'd give me the ball and I'd just run through people. And because of that, I couldn't avoid playing rugby. It was something I was good at. And I wanted to play as well, except I just didn't want to get changed with everyone else. So I would always have to kind of wear this undershirt under my uniform, so that when it was time to get changed, I didn't want to have to separate myself from everyone else. I would take my shirt off, put my rugby kit on top of this kind of inner shirt, play the sport, come back sweaty, dirty, stinking. Everyone else would go to the shower. I would kind of sit there in this undershirt. So I take my rugby shirt back off, just sit there on the bench with this shirt on. And then as soon as everyone else was in the shower, I'd then sometimes even put my school uniform back on over this damp, muddy, sweaty undershirt, because I didn't want to get in the shower. Or I'd just sit there pretending to kind of play with my, shoes, or my shoelaces, or pretending to check something in my bag for like 5 minutes until people had started to come out of the changing room. And then I'd walk to the changing room in my, sweaty shirt and, the rest of my kit, but then just quickly like whip it off, run into the changing room, into the shower, have a quick shower, come back, put that sweaty shirt back on, just so that I can then walk through the changing room again. And then there's a lot that I did, which became pretty much a normal habit. And I think people just assumed that was me, that was my thing to do. No one questioned me. No one ever thought, why is he not getting changed with us? It was just something I had done, and I did that for 7 years. And in fact, I did it longer than 7 years, because even outside of school, even outside of work, I do these same things now. Like, I hate getting changed in front of people, or I'd go to a cricket match that I'm playing in, already changed, so I wouldn't have to get changed in front of other people. And then I wouldn't get changed afterwards either. I'd just get picked up, or I'd get in the car and drive back in whatever I'm wearing, so I wouldn't have to go through that embarrassment. But it's funny, right? These little kind of practices as a child, suddenly, 20 years later, you're still doing the same thing. But yeah, so as a child in primary school, these were the kind of practices I developed. There was no way I was changing it. It made me feel safe. It made me feel protected from the thoughts and the perception of other people, which is the issue. I thought that they were going to bully me. Well, I did get bullied, but I'll come on to that in a sec. I thought that they would think I looked different. I couldn't risk them thinking those bad things about me, because in my mind, starting a new school, navigating that whole complexity of making new friends and trying to establish yourself as a person in this school, that was hard enough. So I couldn't risk the thought of people not liking me. And I was never part of like a certain group. I wasn't part of the popular kids or the jocks or even the geeks or the nerds. Like I wasn't ever part of anything like that. I was just more in that grey area where I was kind of on the outer circle of a lot of different groups. There were the boys that the girls love. So we had a girls' school down the road, and they'd sometimes go for lunch together, or hang out in the park or whatever. I was never part of that group where I'd be getting the attention from the girls, even though I wanted that. And I could see some of my year groups being in these situations where they're being asked out or they're going on dates, and yeah, I did want that, but there was no chance in hell I would be invited to a house party, or I'd have the balls to go up and ask someone out because of the way I looked, the kind of the confidence issues that I had, the self-worth issues that I had. Like I literally had zero. And that's where the issue came from, because looking back at it now, like I had every right to be able to go up to anyone if I wanted to. It's just I'd been conditioned in a way to think I'm not good enough. I don't look good enough, or I don't look the right way to be able to, be invited to a certain thing, a house party, or, hang out with a certain group of guys and girls. All these kind of bullshit things I just made up in my mind as a result of, bullying, or the kind of the thought processes going on in my head. I just automatically felt and thought this, in this type of way. So yeah, so that's one part of it. What else was I going to say? So at my school, we were quite smart. So we wore like a jacket, a blazer, tie, shirt, etc. In 7 years, I don't remember taking my jacket off once. Again, that was like a protection thing. It was also like an image thing where I felt, because of the way the jacket would kind of fall down and sit, it would cover this area. And even though, we'd play football or whatever, running around during lunch times, or even in the, on the hottest of days where it was like baking hot, I'd sit there wearing this jacket, in classrooms where the windows didn't even open. I remember just sitting there, and I'd have these like wet patches under my arm, and there's other kids with like their shirts undone and, pretty much getting naked in class because they're that hot, and I'm just sitting there with this jacket on. But that was just me. That, funnily enough, I do to the same day now. I hardly take my jacket off. It's only in the last 2 years where I've been I've been going in just wearing a shirt, but I've been wearing a compression vest underneath. So that's, again, my kind of form of security and protection. But yeah, back then, all the way up until a couple of years ago, I never took my jacket off, just because I'm so kind of molded in that way to think I'm protected by this jacket. I'm protected by people seeing, the kind of the extra growth up here, which is a real kind of insecurity of mine. But yeah, but then it's weird, right? Because then I see other people, other guys, other males at work, or, in my past jobs, where they obviously are overweight, which is, fine. If that's, what they're happy with, then that's totally fine. But they're just walking about pretty much looking like me without a jacket on, and it doesn't bother them, which is amazing. And I applaud them for that. But for some reason, I can't think in that way, which is the issue here. I've just been molded so much to thinking image is so important. If I don't look a certain way, then I'm a piece of shit. But there are a lot of people out there who don't think in that way, and they think exactly in the way that I'm trying to promote, which is be yourself. Everyone's different. Look the way you want to look. If you're happy with that, that's all you need to be, focusing on, is just being content with the way that you look. But yeah, so that's something which has haunted me ever since school, the whole jacket thing. The other big thing which impacts a lot of people as they certainly go through the kind of stages of puberty and hormone changes is the acne. Now, you can probably see my skin's not perfect now, but man, you should have seen me back in the day. It was like where is your skin? It was so much around these parts here, up here. It was hard to see even like a little kind of patch worth of skin. Everywhere were spots. Thankfully, since then, I know what triggers me and what I can do to stop that. And I've been on everything. I've been on, every type of pill possible. I was on Roaccutane, which is like quite a dangerous substance. It's a dangerous medication, which I was on for like 3 years. And that dries out everything. That gives you cracked lips. It makes your skin peel, all sorts. It also fucks up your head. Apparently, it can give you like mental health issues and suicidal kind of thoughts and stuff are linked to all of it. But at that time, taking that was better than the thoughts I was thinking, believe me. But yeah, having the acne, having the body image issues, it was just like a recipe of shit for me, really. There was nothing I could do apart from just put these practices into place. And there were certain things that I did, like the jacket, like the changing room habits, that just made me feel even like a little bit protected and a little bit better. And yeah, that did help when it came to things like just surviving school, hanging about with other friends. And I did have friends, and there were kids there that didn't judge me for the way I looked. There were kids that I fucking hated. There were kids that bullied me and called me names and made me feel completely worthless because of the way that I looked, from a race point of view, from a size point of view, from a skin point of view, from everything. There were kids that I literally have no regard for at all. I don't know what they're doing now, but I genuinely don't care about them. But they are the issue. They are kind of the ones that can plant that tiny little seed and make someone's life hell, like mine. Not because they consistently made my life hell. It's that 1 or 2 times that they did bully me that then made me almost bully myself for the rest of my life. And that's the kind of the real issue, is once the damage is done up here, it's hard to then reverse it. And that's going to be the same for a lot of kids. That's going to continue to happen unless there is a change, unless there is a fundamental movement to address this issue. What that is, I don't know. I'm still trying to figure that out. I don't know if that's like a control on social media material, what kids are allowed to see, if that's like a fashion industry thing, like what is normal? There is no normal. Why are kids being made to feel like they should look a certain way, or they're being bullied to feel like they should lose weight, or they need to have a certain kind of look about them, otherwise they're not going to fit into a friends group. Yeah, I don't know. It's a bigger thing. It's a massive movement. How we address that, I don't know. But yeah, that's the kind of the story up until the kind of last year of secondary school. I did start to lose weight, actually, because I had another issue with my legs, because I was playing so much rugby. I got this thing called shin splints. Essentially, my shin started to crack because of the weight. So I was 18.5 stone at my peak, wearing a 50-inch jacket, which is fucking huge, right? Like, I don't know if you've ever seen a 50-inch jacket, but you could use it as a blanket. It's huge. But I was 18.5 stone, playing rugby 4 or 5 times a week. My shins were cracking in half, and I couldn't walk. It was really painful. So the doctors essentially told me to lose weight. Otherwise, I'd have to stop playing. So then I thought, you know what, I need to do this for me. Yeah, losing the weight would be like a great thing because I've always had a weight issue, and I did like an extreme type of diet where, so obviously being Asian, we had rice and curry a lot. For 6 months, I had the curry part, which was like chicken and fish and the meat, but I replaced the rice completely with salad, with lettuce, and this was like again like almost like an eating disorder in a way, because I just went cold turkey on the rice and just ended up eating a ball of lettuce and chicken, pork, beef, whatever, curry a day. So a whole ball of iceberg lettuce a day, and my plate was like like these platters that you serve at, if you have guests coming around, or if like a plate that you serve a turkey on. My parents had to replace my normal dinner plate with one of those because that's how much lettuce there was. So it was literally like a whole serving dish, this massive dish worth of lettuce with like a bit of, meat on top. And I would eat that every day for 6 months. And yeah, I'm not gonna lie, I lost nearly 5 stone. My shin splints went. I looked. Actually, I saw a picture of what I looked like not so long ago. I actually looked a bit unhealthy, to be fair, because I was going to uni as well after that. But I looked really unhealthy. Like, I looked unwell in a way. Like, there was no real nutrients that I'd consumed in the last 6 months, and it started to have like quite a big visual impact on the way that I looked. But I'll come on to that in another video, I think, because that is kind of like it's an eating. I had a bit of an eating disorder with going through that period, but going into uni, yeah, that was like another stage of my life where I was obsessed, like literally obsessed with the way that I looked even more. Even though I was a lot slimmer, I had this weird thing going on inside my head about food and obviously like not wanting to. I'll come on to that another day. But yeah, so I ended up losing weight in the wrong way, but it was a real kind of drastic measure just to try and lose weight as quickly as I could so that I could, run and walk again. Which in my mind I did because it worked. I lost the weight. I started playing rugby again. And also, it did boost my confidence a little bit because I'd lost this kind of weight that I've been carrying for so long, but I did it in the wrong way. That's the point I'm trying to make. But the other point I'm trying to make is I did it for me. I did that whole weight loss thing for myself because I wanted to carry on playing sport. Sport was really important to me. Going to uni and not playing sport would be a disaster for me. Like, I wanted to play rugby, I wanted to play cricket, and a doctor, a medical professional had told me to lose weight because that's what I needed to do in order to play again. If the sport wasn't an issue, if I wasn't playing sport, then I probably wouldn't have done this again. So I wouldn't have taken the weight loss as seriously. I would have just let my legs heal and just carried on with life, being the way that I was. But I wasn't happy doing that. So I did that for me, not for anyone else. So yeah, I can't really blame myself for that. I just did it in the wrong way. So yeah, that's kind of the end of 7 years. No girls weren't really in the picture during that time. As I said, I was completely self-conscious. My kind of self-worth had just dropped off completely. I was obsessed with the way that I looked, obsessed with what people thought of me, obsessed with this perception of I need to look a certain way. Um, and yeah, it ruined my life. So it's simple as that. And it's probably ruining plenty of other people's lives right now as well. So this has to be addressed. This has to, there needs to be some sort of movement here to help kids at the younger ages to kind of just end that domino effect of things that happen throughout your life, from that first bit of bullying to every other thought that you have about yourself and what you should be looking like, or how you should be feeling. If you can just lift up one of those dominoes at the early stage, you're gonna probably save someone's life by doing that. So yeah, anyway, thanks for watching. If you've made it this far, you can now check out my stuff on Instagram. I think it's the mailman_1. Thinking about maybe doing a podcast as well, maybe just to try and get this out to a few more people. Maybe let me know your thoughts on that. The idea would be to maybe get guests. I can think of plenty of celebrities. Obviously they're not going to want to work with me at this stage, but people that have almost it's clear that they have lost weight in order to kind of be on TV or kind of continue that celebrity status. So I think those type. Well, I actually, that's wrong for me to say. I don't know if they have lost the weight for that reason, but in the time that I've seen them on TV, they have lost weight. Their reasons for doing that, I don't know. They might have done it for themselves. If so, great. They may have been told to do that. If so, bad. But let's see, people like that interviewing why they did that, what was their driver, could be a start of creating this big kind of change in society. Because if certainly, the younger audience isn't going to listen to me, maybe they're going to be listening to people that they respect more, whether that's influencers, celebrities, business names, sportsmen, I don't know. But these are the types of people I think that we need to try and get this message out to, because we need to make this change. It needs to happen. And yeah, you don't want to end up like me.